Who here drinks beer? Who here likes beer from small brewers? Well, you're going to love Noble Brewers. Next up is Claude, and he's the CEO of Noble Brewer, and it might rock your world.
Yep. So Noble Brewer is a subscription-based craft beer club that features home brewers. But before I tell you about us, I'd like to tell you about why we're doing what we're doing. I met Ricky a little over a year ago. He's an award-winning home brewer, and he likes making hoppy West Coast-style beers. And like many home brewers, he has a dream of opening a brewery one day. He's very meticulous as a brewer. He takes detailed notes, makes tiny changes to his recipe to get his beer just to be perfect. And he recruited some of his friends to help him start a brewery. They started brewing more, they started winning more awards, and they looked into opening a brewery. But what they found out was making great beer is not enough. The alcohol industry is highly regulated. It has high startup costs. It's capital intensive. And for someone just that wants to share their beer, the only way to do it is to start a brewery and enter the industry. And what we want to do is make it a little bit easier for them. So what we do is we find award-winning home brewers, and we partner them up with professional breweries to produce their beer. And that's what we send to our members, along with the story of the home brewer. So our members have a closer connection with the beer they're drinking. They know who made it, why they made it, and what they were going for when they went through the creation process. Our members can also provide feedback to the home brewers on what they thought of their beer. So ultimately, we're trying to create a community between home brewers and really passionate craft beer lovers. A little bit about craft beer. It's exploding. It's a $20 billion market. It grew 20% last year. It's been on a tear for a decade. And half of this occurs off-premise. That means people drinking at home, which is important for us. As you probably guessed, Ricky was one of our featured home brewers, and here's a picture of him making his beer at a commercial brewery. It's the Yerba Buena Cascadian Dark Ale. So a little bit about us. We launched our first batch in March of this year. We're featured in a bunch of popular press and sold out our first shipment in 2 months. We have over 300 members now. We're at a $250,000 revenue run rate. We've raised $500,000, and for the investors in the room, we are looking for more. Most of our customer acquisition has been organic, people telling their friends about what we're doing, and we have tested some paid channels with pretty good success. Our team. I'm a Naval Academy graduate, and I have an MBA from MIT. I have experience in highly regulated areas. I've run a program for the NSA. And our great growth marketer in the back corner, Laura Lynn. Our designer, Anders, is a RISD-trained designer. Kathy's a Fulbright scholar, extremely smart and talented. Our advisors have experience in the beer industry, early stage companies, all the way through IPO, and operations for boutique beverage brands. But who cares what I say? What do our customers say? Ultimately, we're not about just sending you beer in the mail. We want to create a great experience using technology to actually connect you to the brewer and who they are and why they created the beer. What about the beer? Because that's important, right? So for our first batch, this is some of the feedback we've gotten on the beer. Homebrewers are the innovative force in the craft beer industry. They're coming up with really unique recipes, really unique processes that make their beer so great. Things that a commercial brewer may not do because they're so expensive. But we do it, and that's what we send to our members. But, just so you don't think I cherry-picked everything, even our members who may not have liked a particular beer, because they're part of this community and part of this process and understand what went into making the beer, their experience with Noble Brewer and their experience with the home brewers is still enjoyable. It's still something they want to be a part of it. It's still being engaged in that process, some of the transparency that people talked about earlier. Our ultimate vision is to build a community of craft beer lovers who enable us to choose which home brewers beers we want. So think crowdsourced. We're going to crowdsource the best beers that the market wants to see come out. Right now, we're this curated subscription club, and we give our members the ability to reorder beers that they like. 5% of our members from our first batch reordered beer. We're growing into this crowdsourced marketplace where we're making the best beers that the market wants to see, and we're acting as a platform to give homebrewers a way to feature their beers on us and make money and profit without going through all the regulatory challenges, without going through all the pain of actually entering the industry. Here are 4 of our brewers that we've featured. Jonathan has recently moved to Vermont to start a small, sustainable craft brewery. Ricky, we talked about earlier. Nate and Alan are looking at opening a brewery down in the San Jose area. And Mike Riddle is a well-known home brewer, but many of you probably don't know him. He's been brewing for 25 years. He's a 5-time California Home Brewer of the Year, but he doesn't want to start a brewery, so there's no way for us to try his beer and to learn more about him. If you'd like more information, we're always looking for cool partners, cool companies to partner with. And we also have a promo for coming to FoodBytes and listen to me ramble for 5 minutes. So thanks. I think questions. I'll direct.
Thank you, Claude.
Hi, Russ Colbert from Rabobank. Great concept. What's your gross profit margin? And what's the cost of acquiring a customer?
So our gross profit margin all in shipping to the consumer is 50%. Our cost of acquisition on one channel is about $40. Another channel, we're seeing a $6 cost of acquisition.
So as a percentage of revenue, what would that be? Because that's really your marketing budget, right?
I'd have to do some math. We haven't done a lot of marketing. Almost everything's been organic. 80% of our customers we acquired weren't paid. So I don't have great data to answer that question for you.
All right. Thank you, though. Great.
Thanks. It's Ayala Solomon with Honey Wine Company, so we're in the same industry. I just wanted to ask you if you had any resistance because it's an alcoholic product in raising capital, and also wanted to know what are your retention rates, like what's the average subscription run for?
Yeah, so for the first one, there is some people don't invest in alcohol, sin products. That's just kind of how some investors view things. As far as churn and retention rates, we've only been out we sent our first shipment or our second shipment. I will say that your average wine club member stays a member for 18 months to 24 months, and the number one reason they leave is boredom. But because we're always featuring new home brewers and different beers, we think we can improve upon that.
I'm back here with the microphone. Anybody? Of course, this way.
Hi. Is it on? I'm Tamara. I want to know, how are you sourcing your home brewers, and how big is that market, in your opinion?
Yeah, so just in general, there's 1.25 million home brewers in the United States. The way we source them is we use competition results from home brewing competitions. But almost, I'd say every brewer that we've talked to has found us. We haven't really done any outreach to build that community. And we have a pipeline of probably 10 home brewers that we're in various stages of talking with. So we get about 1 email a week being like, how can I be featured? How can I get my beer out there?
Hey, let's say I'm a home brewer. What do I have to do to get my first batch produced?
For the home brewer, as long as you're kind of an award-winning home brewer and have entered competitions and kind of proven your recipe, we take a look at it to make sure that we can scale it. We do videos with our home brewer, so really what we need is a little bit of your time. We actually pay the home brewers a licensing fee to use their beers, so there is no cost to the home brewer, because we don't want cost or regulatory matters to be what prevents great beer from getting to the market. We sell the beer to our customers, and that's where we generate revenue from. For the home brewers, it's really just a way to get their beer out there, build their brand if they're opening a brewery. So it's completely, essentially free for the home brewers. And they own their recipe. They're able to use any assets we create during the process for future use.
Any other questions for Claude? Going once. Going twice. Thank you, Claude. Noble Brewer.